welcome to another episode of Spontaneous Disruption. This is your host, Nikki.
Hey, and it's your girl, L.
What's up, L? What it do?
Hey, how you doing?
Stressful morning.
I know, right? It's Friday, though. It is Friday, so hopefully it'll get better.
No, yeah, for sure. Just technical difficulties, but everything's good now. Yeah, how's your week been?
My week has been interesting. Not bad, not good, but interesting.
In what way? Oh my gosh.
We just got a lot going on at work, and I really have someone I need to spend more time with to train. You're laughing because you know what I'm talking about. But I'm not gonna really get into that. It's just not really pleasant to really interact with this person, but I just have to do it. I have to do it. So I got to put my head down and just do it. But other than that, my week has been pretty good. I mean, I just got back from Tampa and, I was stressed out. My sister was there and she survived the whole thing, thank God. So she's okay. So that's a blessing. That's the other thing that happened this week.
Yeah, my mom's been visiting me this week, so everything's been good. We just, but I haven't been able to drag her out of the house. I think she gardens full time, when she's at home, and then it's hard to drag her out whenever she is away from home because it's like vacation, no matter where she is. However, she is gonna make me take her to the farmer's market and I think some kind of Asian or Korean.
I love the DeKalb market. I need to get there. I've been having a taste for some greens. I think it's because it's fall, so I feel like cooking some greens this weekend. We'll see.
I do not feel like cooking anything this weekend.
Okay, well,
against my will, I will be cooking probably some lamb and stuff tonight, but just for dinner.
That sounds good. That sounds good. Why is it against your will, ma'am? Because
I would rather be laying down and not feeling my best,
Have you caught up with your rest since you've been back from Dubai?
I definitely had like some jet lag, but I'm fine on that. I'm just I guess overwhelmed. Otherwise, I have a lot going on and have just been feeling it.
Okay.
Feeling it. I think it's more so I haven't caught up at work since I got back.
I know. I'm sure that has to be crazy because you definitely unplugged, which is a good thing. You should be able to do that.
But I also have a lot of big projects.
There are always consequences to that, though.
Well, I think under normal circumstances, it might have been okay. However, I have some really big projects on my desk that I'm pushing forward, and it's been crazy busy. Well, let's jump into some technically speaking news. Wanted to talk about Blacklane. Have you familiar with them?
I am not actually.
Okay, so they're not a new company, but they did receive like some new funding, some Series F funding last year, which helped them expand into the US market. But they are an on-demand like rideshare company. I call them rideshare, even though like honestly, you're not sharing rides. It is strictly luxury. So it's an experience versus like, say, even Uber Black, like by comparison. So you can mostly find their services available in the Sixt app, SIXT. They made a deal with them, last year. They have a partnership essentially with them. Sixt is a car rental company, but you can make Blacklane reservations through the Sixt app. And I think that was part of their strategy. But I wanted to talk about them because they're very much so relying on technology to expand into other markets. And again, the US to share. But basically, it's limousine service. So it's not necessarily stretch limousine, but very nice vehicles. They'll wait for you all day. They'll take you from city to city. So you don't have to, it's not necessarily from like my house to work or the airport. though you can use it for that purpose, but it's more so like I'll take you from like New Jersey to New York. And I saw one ad for them, or basically like a testimonial where this guy, like his father had some type of surgery and he needed follow-up care, and he arranged for Blacklane to transport him from like, midtown, Manhattan, New York to I think it was Long Island, and then wait for him, and carry him back. So like you could do that within the city as well, but they're in a lot of like overseas markets. They're a European company, so you'll see them in like Como, Italy, France, different places around the globe.
It sounds hoity-toity.
Yeah, I mean, they obviously take care of all your baggage. If it's hot, sunny, they'll have umbrellas for you. They provide water, drink, like whatever you need, basically. So they customize their experiences for you. But I also thought was really cool is that they are also moving over to an electric vehicle fleet. So all the cars are not necessarily owned by Blacklane, but, and their drivers aren't necessarily employees. They can be independent. Most of them are independent contractors. But there's a heavy emphasis on electric vehicles. And so they expect about 15% of their fleet to be electric vehicles by the end of this year. And they hope that by 2025, it'll be about 50% of their vehicles. So I also like that they really kind of put emphasis on diversity. So, I mean, basically, you're getting a premium. It's on demand transport. They're more accessible. They're sustainable and, again, diverse. So, for example, in Dubai, which is very much so, having just visited there, a very patriarchal society. You know what I mean? And I respect it. I mean, you know what I mean? I like Arab culture. It's cool. It's interesting. Especially like from an outside perspective, looking in and having experience in growing up, a different culture. But about 50% of their drivers in Dubai are women. And when I was there and I had drivers just in my regular Uber or taxis, they were definitely men. And you know what I mean? But I think that is very much so something that sets them apart and makes them unique, as well as like their sustainability. Because, you get into your average Uber, you might be like hit with like a deluge of marijuana smoke.
That happens often. Yes.
They might not have seat covers. They might have seat covers because the thing is torn up, whatever. So you might be sharing a ride with someone else. So very different experience. So anyway, if you haven't seen them, they're here now. So check them out. And when you need them for like something, some luxury experience, or you want to send them to give that experience to someone else.
Oh, child. I don't know about that. I don't know if I'm rich enough for Blacklane, but we'll see. I'll have to check them out and see.
Look into their prices and stuff. It's a ride. I think Uber, that's a big thing, right? Because a lot of it is just, you want Uber, you want something really quick. So there are going to be fewer drivers on Blacklane. It's going to be more expensive and it's going to take a little bit longer. So it's not necessarily like your commuter vehicle.
Yeah.
This is something you're having a really nice evening, and if you're not rich, then you want to splurge. You know what I mean? It's a special occasion or whatever it is. You don't want to drive, that kind of thing. And they'll carry you around all day. So
all right. I'll check them out. I'll have to check them out.
Yeah. So what you got?
All right, girl. I love this lady's name, but do you know who Fifi Lee is?
No.
Fifi Lee. She's a world famous AI expert, and she's often referred to as the godmother of AI. Right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so during a talk at Credo AI's Responsible AR Leadership Summit, she admitted that she's unsure what AGI means. So this is supposedly like the newest term that's been thrown around having to do with AI. So it's called artificial general intelligence. And so, OpenAI, the company behind ChatGPT, aims to create AGI and has recently received about 6.6 billion to work toward that goal. So, however, she says she doesn't even know what that term means. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with AGI. I'm not.
No, I'm not. Mm-mm.
Okay, well, supposedly it's a term, and it gets thrown around a lot in the industry, and there's so much discussion around it, but it's supposedly the future of AI. And what it is exactly, I guess in simple terms, they're saying that it's a type of AI that can think and learn like humans, unlike today's AI systems, which are designed for specific tasks like recognizing faces and recommending movies. But this AGI should be able to understand, learn, and apply knowledge across a wide range of topics like humans can.
Interesting.
So, I find it interesting because AI itself is still developing and learning. And so now we're taking that leap to say this artificial general intelligence is supposed to be even more advanced. But they're saying it's like tricky.
Like, it's funny too, like more advanced than we already.
I know. It's like, really? Yeah. So I don't know. So they're saying it's tricky to really define it because it doesn't exist yet. And some folks in the industry, the technology industry, think that AGI will require massive advancements in technology. And others say, we're still missing the key pieces of understanding how, this artificial intelligence works. I don't know. It sounds like that they're getting ahead of themselves with this AGI advancement. So
it does sound like that. You're already iterating off of it, and this one hasn't even been refined yet. Like the 1.0, whatever you want to call it.
We're actually still in the initial stages of understanding AI and what it can do exactly and what the limitations are. So I don't know. They're, just like most things, they're already ready to move on to the next thing. So
wow.
Without fine tuning, artificial intelligence itself, but we'll see where that goes. I don't know.
Yeah. Little worrisome for me.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see. We will see when Skynet, comes for all of us.
Oh God.
It's gonna happen.
For y'all, I'm gonna be running. I don't know.
Oh well. All right, well, let's pivot to some low vibration news. Fortunately, it's not as low as can be. However, this one is actually just ridiculous. So, obviously, we're in hurricane season.
Yeah.
And Hurricane Helene is probably, the most spoken name we've heard so far, and in addition to Milton, right?
Yeah.
Created quite a bit of lake devastation in Augusta, as well as Asheville, North Carolina. So up in North Carolina, there's this independent guy, his name is Jordan Seedham. He's also a helicopter owner. So a lot of people were flooded as a result. A lot of areas were flooded in Asheville, North Carolina in particular, and up near different lake areas. People were stranded for 24, 36 hours, some without water and food. And so he's, again, a helicopter owner. He and his son are both volunteer firefighters.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. And he once led the Chesterfield County Sheriff's Office narcotics unit. So, he's got some experience in emergency response. Mm-hmm. So all to say, he owns a helicopter. He took it upon himself, like any good Samaritan would do, and tried to help rescue some of those people who were stranded on top of a mountain. There were people stuck within flooded areas in their driveways or on top of their roofs, mm-hmm. things like that. So he and his son went out in the helicopter on basically their own rescue missions, like bringing people to safety. Also for other areas, just dropping off food, water, things like that. And he was threatened to cease and desist, basically. And they said if he didn't stop, that they were going to stop helping people.
Oh my gosh.
Stop, simmer down, whatever you want to call it. The area in particular, the agency that shut him down, they were called Lake Lure. Police department, fire and rescue, they shut him down. And not only that, they made a no-fly order for the area. So like no one else could come and help either. But at the same time, like people are still trapped wherever they're trapped. So this was the craziest part to me. When he was rescuing this husband and wife, he, his helicopter is small. So, he said he would take the wife, bring her to safety, come back. He let his son stay, who again is a volunteer firefighter, stay with the husband while he flew the wife to safety. And then he was given the order to stop right then and there, right, when he dropped the wife off. And then they told him that he couldn't go back to get his son or the husband.
No, that's crazy.
Crazy, right? So he's leaving his son now in his training. Girl, so he went ahead, like, he told him, he's like, I'm going back to get my son, basically. And he was like, okay, well, you can't pick up the husband.
That's crazy.
Girl. So he went to go pick up the husband. And he went to go pick up his son and had to leave the husband and explain to him that why he couldn't pick him up. So then now the husband and wife are separated and creating, worry and consternation. I guess it's one thing, about liability, right? Because like, I guess if he'd crash, like it'd be personal liability. But the thing is, like, they're asking for help. There's people waving down, they see, and they're just puzzled, like, why now you're flying around and not coming to help them?
That's insanity.
So I thought that was pretty low vibration, man.
I wonder how long it took them to get the husband. How long were they separated? Do we know at all? That's crazy, though.
I don't know how long they were separated, but I think this happened maybe on a Saturday, Friday or Saturday.
Yeah.
And then that following, because remember, like the hurricane like really hit. I think it was, what is that? Like that Thursday night.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think it was like on Friday and Saturday, he was flying around trying to like pick people up. And then they lifted the no-fly order on Monday. So I don't know if the actual fire and rescue went to go pick the husband up. Or
that's the only way I would have said. I'd be like, he might still be out there today. Man, please. I'd have been like, look, I'm grown. I'm coming.
Yeah, right.
Crazy. That's insane.
Yeah, and he said that like if he had to do all over again, he would have just kept rescuing people until they arrested him.
Yeah. That's insanity.
Yeah.
That is pretty low, but we're going to take it a little bit higher. You ready?
I'm ready.
Oh, let's talk about Aisha Bowe, a Bahamian-American. She is a former NASA rocket scientist, a global motivation speaker, and founder and CEO of STEMboard, which is an award-winning tech company that has been recognized as one of the fastest growing companies in America. So she is a serial entrepreneur who is passionate about empowering students to pursue careers in STEM, which is science, technology, engineering, and math. Aisha raised over $1.6 million to create Lingo, a self-paced coding kit for learning technical concepts at home. It's currently used by over 5,000 students in 10 countries. Lingo has clients that include tech giants such as Microsoft, and along with other nonprofits and HBCUs and federal organizations. The kits are available at Amazon, Walmart, and Target. So if that wasn't enough, she is the sixth Black woman set to go into space and the first Black woman to fly on Blue Origin's New Shepard space mission, founded by Jeff Bezos. The mission is planned for sometime later this year in 2024. So shout out to Aisha Bowe.
Yeah, she's definitely a mover and shaker. It's good to see, us skin folk doing good things, particularly in the area of technology, and also like really to help young people,
Yeah, I'm excited for her. So the mission that she's going on, I said it comes 30 years after former NASA National Aeronautics and Space Administration astronaut Mae Jemison became the first Black woman to travel to space in 1992, which I was so shocked when I read that. I remember when she went to space, but it seems like it should have been way before 1992.
I think it's really cool and unique, though, when you see people kind of stepping outside the box and doing things like this. We're not a monolith, you know what I mean? Like, I love that. and just STEM in general is very good to have some exposure. Of course, we're lovers of tech, but there's so many other areas of STEM you can get into, and then the nuance within each of those, right? So
you're right.
That
Absolutely.
Cool. All right. Well, we're about to talk about what's thinging on the internet, and of course, Donald Trump thing one, and Kamala
Harris thing two. They are, girl. I'll be so glad when this is over.
Girl, okay. So yes, and that's kind of my point here, because as these hurricanes, was kind of like, as we were talking about that earlier, there's just been what they call disaster politics just popping up like all over the place. Of course, Trump is throwing
misinformation, disinformation.
Yeah, he's throwing mud at them, and they're of course deflecting, and I would say deflecting his insult, not really deflecting their responsibility or anything like that in terms of like Biden and Kamala Harris, but it's more so having to spend the energy addressing the misinformation, disinformation that is being spread by a former president in this case. So it just goes to show like how, particularly in an election year, how just even natural disasters become political. So
I know, that's what I was going to say. How do you politicize a hurricane? But they managed to.
Well, if you want to know who can successfully do it, there's Donald Trump for it.
Oh my God. It's insane. This is like serious. This is people's lives we're dealing with here.
Yeah. So Biden made a comment along those lines, and just a reminder of like just past record is when some of those wildfire disasters are happening in California. Donald Trump refused to allocate aid and support because they hadn't voted for him. So in terms of he didn't win the state,
Which is insane, because some people in that state did vote for you, sir.
They did. They absolutely did. And I'm sure some people who were affected by the fire directly voted for him.
And they're still Americans. You're like everybody's president, not just the president of Republicans.
Yeah. So I think particularly throughout this hurricane season and other natural disasters occurring, through these elections, at least, we're going to be subjected to a lot of this, again, disaster politics. And so I'm over it. I am over it, honey.
I am too. I am so over it. I'm going to vote, but I have not participated in a lot. I haven't just been protecting my peace. There's things that I see here and there, but usually I'm like all over it, like watching all the political shows and keeping my eyes glued to the news. I just can't anymore because I have to protect my peace.
It's so funny that you have disconnected a little bit from the news, because I know you're a news junkie, and my goodness, like it's even gotten on your nerves.
It has gotten on my nerves, girl. I just can't. Because I can feel my blood pressure rise when I'm looking at some of the crazy stuff that I see out there. And this one in particular bothers me because, again, they're playing in these people's faces. These people are worried about, living.
Yeah.
Something. A natural disaster that is totally out of their hands.
Yeah.
And you want to politicize it. Like, these people need help. I don't care if you're a Republican or a Democrat. So it's something that I'm passionate about. I get angry about it.
Yeah.
And I don't like it.
So, speaking of heartbreak and stuff like that, like,
Lord.
I know. So have I'm sure you've seen this stuff going on with like Halle Bailey and DDG.
Absolutely. I've heard about their little breakup, little Halle from Chloe and Halle and DDG. I didn't really know who he was until he started seeing Halle first.
I didn't know who he was either. Yeah.
I had no idea. But what I did know about him after, I heard she had gotten with him and there were all these rumors about her being pregnant, and she never really acknowledged it until really pretty much the baby came. I read that he probably wasn't, worthy of her. So, I've heard that they've broken up. They have broken up, and DDG has released a statement. Okay.
Why did he feel like he needed to release? We know him.
I hate when people do that. It's like,
and I love how Halle hasn't said a word.
he has not said a peep. But I mean, it's interesting that he released this statement, saying that they decided to part ways, but they'll be friends. There'll always be family, and they're going to lovingly co-parent, basically. Mm-hmm. Girl, most folks were so happy. They said, girl, we saw this coming a mile away. I'm like, my goodness. Yeah. But they've been signs. I've read that there's been signs pointing toward their split for a while now. Apparently he's embarrassed her quite a bit, over the internet. He's admitted to messaging another woman during an argument he and Halle had a while back. He's also released a song seemingly shading her success during the height of her Little Mermaid press and promo tour. I don't understand. But they say that that's a thing of his. He loves to online troll. So there's been some back and forth on the internet as to whether this breakup is actually real, because Halle hasn't said a word. Typically, you release a joint statement, but he took it upon himself to release this statement.
Well, it's also the fact that they just recently had a baby is also pretty disheartening. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I don't think for either one of them, they would have chosen that life, but it's kind of hard that that's how things have gone. And I can see why she would probably be quiet. You know what I mean? I'm sure we all expected this from her sister, but
right. I know, right?
to be, to end up being, single mom. And, nobody necessarily chooses that. Some people do. Some people do choose single motherhood, single fatherhood, things like that. And I don't think anything's wrong with it, obviously. But it's just so hard. You know what I mean? I'm sure even for her being like a superstar, and, having the money that she has, maybe it's a little easier for her. But it don't, you just got to go through the emotions, period, right? And he obviously is crashing out publicly. Yeah. Going off on creators or anybody else who's saying things about him is like I think he came for Joe Budden, who's in the middle of everything, right?
Oh Lord, I wouldn't even fool with Joe Budden. He's savage.
Yeah, and then he came for him, called him old, said, you just went gold for Pump It Up after 20 years, and he talked about some other creator and how her baby's father doesn't have any pictures on her Instagram or
that
social
sounds
media.
Like such an immature
so
thing.
Immature, right? But I did think it was funny though when they were at the Usher concert for her birthday.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
Give her the cherry.
Yeah, he's not the cherry. And he put the cherry in her mouth. He said, "Right, that's funny."
That was kind of funny. But yeah, girl. But I guess it kind of brings us to our main topic, though, right? Because which is heartbreak hacks. How do you get past something like that? I mean, I've never birthed a child, but I do feel like, it exacerbates the pain you feel, even like for any breakup, right? You know what I mean? Like now you're no longer with the person who you brought a child into this world with, but how you get over it? How do you get over it? I mean, I've heard Chloe and DDG, that they have, well, at least he has a history of pranking. So maybe this is one elaborate hoax and prank, which I don't think so.
It is childish.
I don't think it is. But, no doubt many non-celebrities and celebrities deal with the fallout from breakups. And I don't know. I just wanted us to talk a little bit about how you navigate that,
Yeah, I mean, I'm by no means a celebrity. I mean, I think when you're dealing with a relationship on such a large scale and the world is watching, maybe that's why you feel like you have to release a statement and just kind of watch how you move. But for me personally, it's been a long time since I've had a real heartbreak, but I think you acknowledge it and you kind of sit in it for a while, and it's okay to cry it out. And really, it's just time, and it just takes time, and you have to just go through the paces.
Yeah, I think you have to go through the paces. It does. It really does. Just I think it does. Like time is always something that kind of helps you grieve, whether it's, loss of anything. But I think one mistake that some people make is blaming themselves,
Yeah.
for what went wrong.
It definitely takes two. Generally, it does. Sometimes it is one person who's just being an asshat, but a lot of the times you knew they were asshat when you got with them, so you kind of have to take some of the blame for that. I guess if you know that, yeah,
they got asshat tendencies.
Yeah, no, I sound like an old lady, but yeah,
I was gonna say like define asshat, but I think it's pretty self-explanatory.
It's like asshole, same thing. You wear your ass on your head.
Like
so basically,
that makes sense. I don't know. It's that there's that, right?
Yeah.
But I also think that you can take time for yourself, like, not try to overwhelm you. Like, take some time off and like basically just give yourself time to heal, like you said. Mm-hmm. But also maybe you can like pamper yourself a little bit. Doesn't necessarily mean you got to spend a whole bunch of money, but take care, focus on you.
Jason, and that means internally as well. I can't remember, however, like the last time my heart was really broken, I can remember not wanting to eat. I lost a lot of weight. Boy, did I look fabulous. I was miserable. But
that's one thing people get in the gym. They become these revenge bodies.
Yes, girl, I literally, I just wasn't hungry and it just came off, but I was like, one day I just kind of looked at myself. I was like, girl, you got to take care of yourself. So it's definitely important to take care of yourself. Like I said, again, it's okay to acknowledge the pain and, and give yourself some time to grieve. But then there's a time you have to just like start pulling yourself together, try to keep yourself busy, learn a new hobby, do some things that you've been wanting to do. And maybe that relationship that you were in with maybe keeping you from doing certain things. So those are some of the things that I did, and you just really have to remind yourself that, it's not permanent, that you're going to actually get through it.
You'll feel that way. Yeah.
You're not going to
also like create some distance between yourself and that person and like reminders of them. I think it's I'm on the fence a little bit, like people like scrubbing their social media, right? Like you can scrub all the like public memories and stuff like that you posted and all that. But I feel like you also don't really have to. But if it's things around you that are like constant reminders of that person, maybe it's not necessarily, you know what I mean? Like,
I'm not a media scrub my media of people. Like I said before, like if you go back far enough in my Facebook, you'll see pictures of me with my ex-husband. It's part of my story and who I was. Maybe if it was a boyfriend, maybe I'd scrub. I don't know. But the breakup that I was particularly talking about was when I said I lost all the weight and stuff. I did have pictures on my phone that I deleted. So I got rid of all the pictures in my phone, but like I didn't go back in social media and make any of those changes. I haven't
done that. Like gone through and like deleted old pictures because I feel like offline stuff,
Yeah,
I haven't done that. Do you feel like that's a thing? Like you should get rid of pictures of people?
Well, at the time I did because, I'm telling you, I was really heartbroken. I will actually go back and look at pictures. And I'm like, you know what? This is just not good for you. You need to get rid of these pictures. Stop looking at them,
The thing is, like, I don't even look at them. It's just that, they're in my phone. If I ever wanted to reference, like, they're there. I also have, like, hard copy. I have pictures of, like, my boyfriend from undergrad. Yeah. I just have pictures.
That's different. I don't know why that's different. Like physical pictures, I probably wouldn't like. Some people do rip up pictures. I've never been one of those type of people, but I think I got rid of them because your phone reminds you. Your phone will pop up memories and stuff like that, and I just kind of didn't want that. And so
usually when you're taking a picture and you're in picture taking mode, like you're trying to capture a happy moment. So like nothing wrong with that necessarily. Let somebody like really harm, did you wrong, harmed you, whatever. Because like breakup is breakup. Again, you're gonna feel that, but like I don't know. It just I don't know. I like to hold on to that. But I have considered like, burning some
you need
stuff.
to do to get through it, honey.
Yeah, you do what you need to do.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then, I think basically giving yourself like space from others too, because like not necessarily the subject of, the breakup, the person you broke up with, but just don't get yourself overwhelmed with other things just arbitrarily. Like,
Yeah.
just feeling like you need to go to every museum, park, and playground. You know what I mean? Like you can also be normal about that kind of stuff. If it's not something you would normally do, don't necessarily start taking on a whole bunch of things and get ahead of yourself and overwhelm yourself to avoid those feelings. I feel like you should process it and get some help processing it if you actually need to. So
I think everybody's different, but ultimately if you find yourself not being able to get through something, then seek help. And there's nothing wrong with that. If you got EAP at work, talk to someone objective. Doesn't necessarily have to be your friends, if you just want to kind of work through these feelings. Yeah.
I'll tell you the one thing I usually go through, and it's almost like physical, is like withdrawal from the person.
Yeah.
Like, hugging them, you know what I mean? Being in their space, that kind of thing. I go through like a withdrawal period. Like I'm a fiend or something. Yeah. But you know what I mean? It only takes cold turkey. Like, I need like a good week to go through withdrawal and I'm okay. Yeah. Physically, from a physical standpoint.
Yeah.
Like I've broken up or with someone and then got sick, like literally physically gotten ill.
Yeah.
I think it was triggered by that, even though not alone, but I definitely think that is a factor. That was a factor in why, I felt away. But yeah, so I don't know. I don't have any other tips for y'all. But any final words or thoughts on that?
My final words and thoughts on that really is that it's temporary. The pain is real. It can be really real, but you have to let yourself kind of get through it and do what you have to do to get past it.
Yeah, very true.
Seek help if you need to. Don't hang on, and let's look forward to the future.
Those are two really good points, and I'll just echo what you said there in terms of I don't want to gloss over the whole seeking help thing and seeking support. It don't have to be professional, but like it also doesn't have to be like you going it alone. And I love that you said focus on your future, because like it's not the end of the world. It might feel like it temporarily, but it ain't.
It definitely
isn't. All right, well, let's move on to the Each One Teach One segment of a show.
It's my favorite. Yes.
All right, I'm gonna go on and knock mine out today, so you don't say it.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna say, like, you should have expectations for the people around you to change and evolve. If people around you aren't changing and evolving, like you should be concerned about that. Like there should be, everyone undergoes or should undergo some type of evolution and change, and it looks different for people. But every probably 5 to 7 years, you probably are going to see significant changes in yourself. And you're going to see that in yourself. And I think just to give people grace when they're going through it, as long as those changes don't necessarily end up alienating you. You know what I mean? Give people room to grow.
Yeah.
And that's my Each One Teach One.
Good. That's a good one. I like that one. All right. So I guess mine is centered around really like getting through or getting over a breakup. And what I'll say is like, accept what it is. Let go of what was and have faith in what will be.
For real.
Yeah,
for real.
There is a future.
And manifest what that it is or will be. You know what I mean? Like there are ways for you to really focus your energy, your mindset, like on those things so that, you're not focused on this past anymore. I love that.
Yeah. And I just think people really need to understand and just get to the point where you realize that, okay, this is ending, but every ending, really, there is a new beginning. There is a new beginning. You can choose to hang on to something that was or the past, but that's not going to benefit you. So you have to let go of what was and really just move on and just look at it as a new beginning. And, there are great possibilities out there for you.
Yep, you can choose not to see it if you want, but not in your best interest.
Not in your best interest, for sure. So.
All right, well, that brings us to the end of our show.
And we want to thank you for sticking with us as we continue to grow.
You can listen and subscribe to the show on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
We also invite you to like and follow us on IG and TikTok and email us at spontaneousdisruption@gmail.com to chat with your host or propose topics for future episodes.
With that, we'll see you next week, and
we out.